Welcome to Plastic Model Mojo, a podcast dedicated to scale modeling, as well as the news and events around the hobby. Let's join Mike and Kentucky Dave as they strive to be informative, entertaining, and help you keep your modeling mojo alive.
All right, Kentucky Dave, we are on the backside of our second 100.
Yep.
Well, or heading into our second 100.
Well, wait a minute. That would imply this is 101. This is 151.
No, the backside.
The backside.
Since 100.
Yeah, gotcha.
Of our second 100.
So, in other words, it's episode 151.
It's episode 151 once we get the semantics squared away. Yes. And that's a lot, man.
It is, but it just, God, it seems like it was just yesterday.
Well, we've been busy. We get a little late getting this one to print.
Yeah, well, that life intervenes. We'll talk about that.
Well, what's up in your model sphere, my friend?
My model sphere has been fantastic.
Well, good.
Went to the Cincinnati show, had a great time there. Yesterday, you and I got to do Squadron TV, and that was a new experience for both of us. And I'm here to tell you, I had a great time. Having a little trouble getting back to the bench, some life stuff and dad stuff and, family stuff has intervened, but I am getting back. And I'm also already starting to look forward to 2026. So my model sphere's high. My mojo I've got a raging mojo, man. My mojo is raging. How about you?
I'm not too bad. I really enjoyed joining Brandon and Jeff.
Yep.
For Squadron TV last night, maybe Wednesday the 12th, that episode. Folks want to go check that out if you haven't already. That was a lot of fun.
It was.
I was on quite a ways back.
Yeah.
It was right. It was before the national convention because Jeff hadn't joined Squadron yet, and he was on there pitching the national convention. So it was sometime last year. I can't remember exactly when, but it's a fun thing. It was a good time.
I have to make a note in my calendar for 2 weeks from yesterday, because Brandon's going to have Dana Bell on, and I'll watch the heck out of that one.
At least had better luck than us for getting.
Yes, I know. Well, in fact, we're going to talk to Brandon about that.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. I knew when he said that, your eyes probably lit up, and
they did.
You're pretty excited about that. So,
yes, yeah.
I guess in the model sphere, that's been the big thing.
Yeah,
and other than that, it's been work, and I'm actually thinking about taking the E16 into work with me tomorrow.
Oh, good. Well, that will be cool.
And because I've been doing a lot of tedious stuff at work that's not unlike work I do at my own bench. Like I told Brandon before we started recording, maybe even before you joined, we were talking there before we started the thing. And I don't know, when they were outlining the tasks for what we're doing right now, they picked 2 or 3 unbeknownst to me that they knew I might be the only person that had the precision and patience to do. So,
well, what you need to do is you need to get a Lexan case. You need to put that Paul in that Lexan case and take it to work and put it on your desk.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Or I could just take it in the box tomorrow and put it in the laminar flow hood and turn the overhead light on. Just let it sit in there.
Speaking of, there you go. Speaking of your work and space stuff, you saw Blue Origin had a successful launch today.
I don't think I didn't get to see it. I was traveling out to a machine shop to pick up some parts.
Yeah, I didn't think you all had anything on that because it was a satellite launch.
No, we weren't there.
So, Mike, since we're doing episode 151, I assume you have a modeling fluid in front of you.
I do.
What do you have?
I have some Basil Hayden's. I hadn't had that in a little while.
Oh, you lucky dog.
And I got a little of that. It's a little lighter than some of the others.
Yeah, it is.
It's not pairing well with the white cheddar popcorn I had a minute ago.
Well, so I don't think that's a recommended bourbon pairing.
We got to get that out of my mouth.
Okay, well, another couple of swigs of Basil Hayden, and that'll all be gone.
Well, what about you?
I got another beer tonight. This one is Wizard's Order Juice Box Wizard Juicy IPA from Tailgate Brewing in Nashville, Tennessee, courtesy of our good friend Bill Moore, who I'm going to see on Saturday. So I'm drinking this one in his honor.
Yeah, I talked to Bill about you coming down there, so you better keep your guard up, Dave.
I am, man. I am. But listen, believe me, we're gonna make the point that you didn't make it, and so
I know
you are going to come in for some righteous scorn.
I guess. Well,
I can promise it.
When you all break off conversation, you might want to back up facing him 5 or 6 steps before you turn around. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, the modeling fluid's all in good fun, and the listener mail's all in good fun.
All right.
And
what do we got?
Well, the drought's over, that's for sure.
Well, that's good.
We got a lot.
All right, let's get into them.
Well, Dave, first up, Will Edwards from Down Under and the 72nd Scale guys you created the international incident with.
Yes.
They sent me the missing comma.
Oh, they sent you just a comma?
Just a comma. Yep. I got an email, and that is the only thing in it is a comma. So,
you know what? Aussies truly do have the best sense of humor, man.
Well, so that's all done and dusted, wrapped and bowed. So hopefully you learned your lesson, Dave.
Yes, there is peace among 72nd Scale World War I modelers.
Well, one of our favorite Chicagoans is written in again, Hector Colon.
Oh, yes. Who brought us some really nice beer at the Nationals.
And he says it's medalla, not medallia.
Okay.
It's Spanish.
Gotcha.
Okay, so there you go.
Thank you, Hector.
You've got Dave corrected now, Hector, and he appreciated us running into us at Hampton.
Yep. I was thrilled with all the people we saw at Hampton this year. Every year it seems like more and more listeners stop by our table, and that's just great.
If I'm not mistaken, he was there with his son.
He was.
That's right. And he says he's on your bandwagon now, and he believes the National Convention is the best 4 days in his modeling year, too.
There you go.
And like hoping to see us, we hope to see him in Fort Wayne in 26.
Absolutely. And he's got no excuse given where he's located.
It's a lot shorter trip than Hampton.
Yeah.
For him, for sure. Unless he flew, then it probably wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
You just hop a jet in Chicago and go straight there. I suspect he drove.
I suspect he did too.
Well, the boys at Detail and Scale have been cranking out the stuff again.
Yes, they have.
Rocco Rozak informs us they have a new one.
Yes.
A7 color and markings book has been published now.
Yep.
And it's going to be part 1 of an ongoing series on the A7. It's U.S. Navy Atlantic Fleet Squadrons and Test and Evaluation Facilities aircraft. So
you just have to love the U.S. Navy in the 60s and 70s when the aircraft were just all sorts of colorful.
Some crazy stuff in here, and this is just getting started, part 1. So I'm sure there's a Pacific Fleet and other stuff coming. So
I'm sure. And
it's volume 9 in the Colors and Markings series. So there you go. Support them, folks. They got some good reference books, and we appreciate all Rock does for us. And
absolutely,
please patronize Detail and Scale. This is an interesting one, Dave. It's from Michael Pye in North Somerset in the UK.
Okay.
Something he's been playing around with at his place of employment. They've signed up for Copilot, which is an AI function.
I know. Believe me, I know what Copilot is.
And he often builds small scale dioramas around his aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been finding it really helpful to lean on AI a little bit for the initial base design.
Really?
Yeah, this is interesting. He likes its ability to call on real history, and it can allow for access to knowledge that he hasn't simply built up yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he knows, what it kicks out is not 100% accurate, but he thinks it's a helpful tool to at least get, if you got a little brain freeze going on, to get a starting point. So, Mike, I'm really curious, and other listeners too, if you've tried this, but for Mike specifically, I'd like to know kind of what kind of prompts he's using to get what he wants, because that's kind of
Right.
That's the secret sauce, is getting it right on the front end, and you can curate it as you go along and make it more and more, when it's
And the more you do it, the better you get at writing the prompts that'll get you what you're looking for.
So it's interesting. I'm going to give it a shot. We don't have Copilot, but I'll use something else and see what happens. Could be fun.
Yes, keep us updated.
Andrew Armstrong from Centerpoint, New York, Dave, is feeling your pain.
Uh-oh. What about?
Well, he recently kicked out Edward's 72nd scale MiG-15.
Yeah, beautiful kit.
And he tried a bare metal finish, and he struggled a bit, but expected that. That's not what got him.
Right.
He knew how difficult it could be and what to expect. And what he did not expect was after he got through that part of it, just the ability to glue on the simple bits at the end of the build and dropping parts and marring this paint and just making a general mess of things and jacking up the panel line wash. And finally he just pulled the plug and said, that's good enough. On to the next one.
It's a learning experience. And listen, I feel his pain, because the closer you get to the completion of the model, the more that you worry that those last few things are going to be what causes you a problem. And it's so disheartening to be adding an antenna or a pitot tube or a missile or something like that, and jack it up to the point where not only do you not get that right, but you experience what we here in the Mojo Dojo call negative modeling. And
Yeah.
there is nothing more disheartening than negative modeling, to the point where with that recent F8F kit, I negative modeled it right into the trash can.
I'm curious, and you can comment on this after I explain it, but I had a minor epiphany. It was at work this week doing some of this delicate work, and it's something I'd never really thought about, but it's something I've noticed happening, I think probably since I've been an adult modeler. To kind of tie this into where he was with this project, he already had the bare metal finish on. So anything after that you're gluing on, it's the risk is a little higher versus some other kind of finish, right?
Right.
So when I'm doing really delicate work, I tend to hold the work and the tool kind of gingerly.
Yep.
And I tend to drop things with a higher frequency because of that. I did it on the E16. I did it on some of the silly things I was doing at work this week. It's just something I catch myself doing. And I wonder if your mistake frequency kind of goes up because maybe you almost drop the model, or you do drop it, or it slips out of your hand in a position that breaks something, and all that kind of thing.
It's a natural tendency when you're doing delicate stuff to try and do it delicately. But you're right, if you're holding the tool or holding the model, the one thing you don't want to be doing is holding both of the darn things. You don't want both of them, especially if you got the shakes that I do. You do not want both of them moving in 3 axes when you're trying to put them together. So put one of them down and attach with it already resting on like a build cradle or something like that. But I can see that a tendency to underhold. I will tell you that finding a good pair of tweezers is really, really, really important. I mean, you and I've had this discussion many episodes back, that cheap tweezers where the jaws don't meet, or there's a bow at the end, or something like that, it just leads to parts dropping or pinging off into space. And it is worth, $12, $15, $20 for a really finely machined pair of tweezers.
And you could get good ones in that kind of price range.
Exactly.
Now, it used to be kind of tough. Usually you're 35, 40, $50. Yep. And, some of the ones I buy for the lab at work are that expensive. So I got to remind people not to use them for pry bars and stuff.
Yes, that's right. If you get a really good pair of tweezers, do not use it for anything but really fine parts handling or whatever.
So we've digressed a little, but I was just
Yeah.
wondering if this was the use of light hands, and especially for me, if I'm wearing like nitro gloves at work,
Yeah.
maybe the work dictates it just for fingerprints or keeping skin oil off something. Yeah, that kind of magnifies the problem.
Speaking of nitro gloves, not to digress yet again, I've switched from 5 mil to 3 mil, and it makes a world of difference regarding the sensation that you get through the gloves. And I'm to the point now, I am so sold on the 3 mil that I don't think I'll ever use anything else.
There's a tip.
There you go.
Next is Tom Karen from Karen's Utah.
Okay.
And he just finished our last episode with Dr. Paul Budzik. And first off, he'd like to wish the good doctor a happy retirement.
As we all do.
And he says this episode was most helpful for him because he has one hell of a shelf of doom. He says it's more of a storage rack full of kits he screwed up or lost interest in, and he's just tired of looking at them. So he threw them in the trash.
Good.
While he was listening to the podcast.
Good. And you know what? And hopefully Paul is listening to this, and I know that Paul would be greatly pleased that he had that effect to help the modeler unburden themselves from the shelf of doom. And we all have shelves of doom, but when it builds up too much and you look at stuff that's been there for years and you know you're not going to finish it, throw it away. Unburden yourself. Great advice from Dr. Budzik.
Well, he's on the threshold of retirement himself, and he's been thinning things down, and he may actually move to Costa Rica in retirement, so he's got to keep things in check.
There you go.
He's got to ship it all down there, and sounds good, man. I'm glad you enjoyed the episode and got something out of it.
And retiring to Costa Rica sounds like an awfully fine way to go into retirement.
Well, from Richmond, Virginia, Dave, it's Frank Blanton.
Good.
Who we saw modeling with Ben Pluth at the National Convention.
Yes.
And he's been a long-time listener. We appreciate that. He also enjoyed episode 150, and it says it spoke exactly to his situation. He retired early at age 59, along with his wife. He doesn't model to deadlines, and he doesn't model to obligations, and he thought it was all just brilliant.
Well, good. Again, he really does have some great insights, in addition to picking up all sorts of tips and modeling techniques and stuff like that. But he has some deeper insight into the hobby. He's actually thought about the hobby and what he wants out of it, what he wants to put into it. And not everybody thinks that deeply on the subject, and I do think it helps to do so.
Well, Frank, they downsized their home to a 1-bedroom condominium in downtown Richmond. That might be a fun way to live too.
Yep.
Down in the thick of it. And he had to downsize his collection of built and unbuilt model kits. And like Paul did, he gave a lot of stuff away to fellow modelers, donated kits to shows and raffles, sold books he didn't have room for, all the same stuff. And he keeps a smaller stash now. Another thing he does is he doesn't do many long build kits or difficult things these days. Troublesome kits, we'll call them that.
Gotcha. Life's too short to build crappy kits.
Unless you like doing it.
Yeah, unless you like to. Unless you're doing a nostalgia build of an old Airfix kit that you remember doing as a kid.
Man, the email for episode 150 just keeps coming. Oh, from Paul's home state, too, is Ed Baroth.
Yes.
And Ed just wanted to say how much he enjoyed the episode with Paul and his thoughts on retirement, including stash and motivation and what to do next and simple happiness. Just amazingly echoed his own thoughts after 6 months of chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And it just says it's simple as that. And he's too wondering about his stash and stuff he'll never get to. Ed's got a good prognosis. But that kind of thing makes you look at life differently, and
it does,
especially in terms of what to do with one's time. So he really appreciated the insight in that episode.
Well, and I want Ed to know that everybody in the Plastic Model Mojo family is thinking of him, and we're happy that he's got such a good prognosis. And we look forward to seeing Ed at many, many future nationals.
I hope so. He's planning on setting up a vendor table with some of his next shows, and asked if we needed any kits. He'll send us a list.
Great.
Well, from Cleveland, Ohio is Jeff Adanich. He started out modeling in high school and junior high and left the hobby for about 3 days and picked it up again during the pandemic. Well, we haven't heard that story in a little while, but we sure heard it a lot during the pandemic and immediately after.
Yes. Yep.
And he thinks it's a fantastic way to detach from all the other stuff going on in his job in healthcare. It's really true for anything.
Yep. I
think
agree.
So. And we may touch on stuff like that in our special segments.
Yes.
For our shop talk.
Will.
And he's gone back through the archives and looking to get to some shows, planning on going to Fort Wayne. He just kind of builds everything. And he's just picked up Steve Anderson's guide to the Modeling Journal.
Good.
So he's really got on board. So Jeff,
glad to hear it.
Welcome back.
Post some pictures on the dojo of your work, Jeff.
Well, he's got an Academy B-17 he's working on, and hopes
good.
to do that. He mentioned that as well.
Good.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm glad to have you as a listener. Well, if you're following the advice in episode 150, Michael Aluzzi from the Jack Weislich Polish Kochwashers in Peoria, Illinois has a suggestion for you. How often do they do this? I guess at all their club meetings, they have a super modelers quiz.
Uh-huh.
And everybody brings stuff they don't want or can no longer use. And they have a big prize bin. And they make up this 10-question quiz that all the attendees take. And whoever gets the most right gets their first pick of the prize bin, and so on and so forth down the line. So,
that's cool.
Kind of put a fun twist on getting rid of stuff by making a game out of it.
And you know what? That brings up something that you and I need to think about for future episodes. You know, we do all of these show spotlights and we ask people what they do, what's unique about your show and what's different and what are you all proud of, et cetera, et cetera. We need to do the same thing for club meetings. We need to get people to send in information on their local club, how many people attend, what's the frequency, et cetera, and what you do, what goes on at the meeting, and what unique things you all do, like that prize box thing. That would be a really good idea. So listeners, I want you to start thinking about that and start flooding Mike with emails on that subject.
Well, Charles Rice from South Carolina, who attended the regional show in Raleigh, has written in with some stats from the show. And remember, there's some concern about the after 5 models entry fee.
Right.
I'm going to call on Bob Bear to reach back out to us because I want to make sure these numbers are right and then see what he's got to say about it, because it seemed to impact things.
Okay.
And if these numbers are right, it was kind of severe. Be really curious.
Yeah.
Like on the order of 50% versus the region they put on in 23.
Yeah.
So,
of course, now regionals are always outside shows.
No, you missed what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said the regional in 23.
Right. This show they just had was a regional.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And based on the numbers given, it looks significantly smaller.
Gotcha.
So,
Bob, reach out to Mike.
That's right. I'm curious about that one. Sounds like it's a good show, though. He said they get great vendors and saw plenty of friends. And he sent me a picture of the ruffian he ran into there, which is none other than Bob Bear, voice of Bob.
Yes.
So real curious how that went down. And another one for episode 150 and my final email.
Okay.
Bruce Binkson from, I think he's from San Francisco. Yes. Greetings from San Francisco. And he also wants to add his voice to the chorus of appreciation for Paul Budzik's appearance in episode 150. He says, this guy's got a lot of insight and it's always deserves an attentive listen. So he's glad he finally retired. So congrats to Dr. Paul again for that. Wants to say that his wife and I are experiencing some of their best moments having both retired, and it's largely through their hobbies. So,
well, good.
There's hope, Dave.
Yep. There's hope. Well, I'm not sure. As I've told you many times, I'm not sure I'll ever retire. We'll see.
Well, I hope you do, man.
Yep.
Well, again, that's all I've got from the email side of things. What have the direct messages been looking like?
Well, we've gotten a few of them. First one, our friend out of England, Neil Gilborn, reached out. A friend of his recently entered car model at Telford, won a first place award. He sent me some pictures, and he suggested this friend as a possible future guest or somebody we might want to talk to.
Okay.
So I made a note that I'm going to talk to you about that, and then you and I can talk to Neil, and we'll go from there. But I just wanted to mention that. And by the way, that is the reason I wanted to mention that is that any listeners out there, if there's some modeler that you know that you think there's would be a particularly good interview subject, we're always looking for people, particularly people who may not be well known in the hobby, but have particular insights. We're always looking for interview subjects. So please don't hesitate to reach out and say, hey, I know this guy. He does X, Y, and Z, and he might really be somebody you'd want to talk to. We appreciate that. Next DM is Bill Moore. In regard to the Murfreesboro show, Bill did us a solid in getting us a last-minute table down at Murfreesboro, and I'm looking forward to seeing Bill on Saturday. The next one just goes to show how unusual life is now. Saturday morning, I'm laying on my couch getting ready to watch college football, and I get a Facebook call through the DM feature, but a phone call, and it's Paul Gloucester on his 12-hour drive up the east coast of Australia to go to Scale ACT, I think is the show that they were headed to. And it's just really weird to be on your couch on a Saturday morning and get a phone call from literally half a world away from a fellow modeler driving 12 hours to a show. And it was just really fun to hear from Paul. He also sent me a picture of a huntsman spider in a toilet, which convinces me I'm never going to the bathroom in Australia. And then, as I shared with you, once he got to Scale ACT, he found,
rather rude photo.
Yeah, he found the Podfather, and we got a rather interesting photo, or I got, and I shared it with you and Steve. And again, I love it. It was fantastic. So thank you, Paul. You really did make my day doing that. You've mentioned Mike Aluzzi, and Mr. Aluzzi sent me a DM because at the model show he recently went to, he found a whole bunch of Tamiya Zeros, and he purchased the same. And so he sent me a picture with a stack of 4 Tamiya Zeros that he had purchased at the show. So good for him. Glad somebody else is buying them too. Our friend, Agent 003, Brandon Jacobs, reached out. As you know, or as we've discussed, Brandon and a friend of his are buying up collections of deceased modelers or modelers who are thinning down their stash and whatever, and are just kind of as a side hobby buying them up and then liquidating them back out. And while he was out deer hunting in a deer stand that he painted in Mickey Mouse camouflage, World War II German camouflage.
British camouflage.
Is that British? Okay, I'm sorry. It's armor. I don't know. Okay, thank you. But it's really cool looking. But while he was out deer hunting, his partner in crime came across a stash of a deceased modeler that nobody knew about. The guy was never associated with any clubs. Nobody knew him in Brandon's and his friends' modeling universe. And the guy had like 350 models, including 45 Wingnuts wings kits. So any listener out there who's into Wingnut wings, reach out to Brandon Jacobs, Agent 003. And if you're looking for a particular Wingnuts kit, he may be able to make you a good deal. He was amazed by coming across this stash from a modeler nobody was even aware of.
Hmm.
And I suspect there are more modelers out there like that than any of us know. And finally, one of our Facebook users, who's actually, I can't put a name to it because it was not an identified individual, but they reached out to let us know that the Plastic Model Mojo merch store, the website was down, and we are transitioning to another vendor for merchandise. So right now that site's down, and we're going to bring it up with another vendor with hopefully higher quality.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Now, the fact that it's down is just one more thing to make us do that. It's not
Right.
down because we've already turned it off.
Right.
It's down because something's broken about it on their end. So
Right.
we've had a couple of service level issues with them with listeners, and then
Right.
a couple of folks have had some dodgy quality on some t-shirts. So yeah, we're going to replace that. So if it's something you want, just hold off. Let us make an announcement that we've got a new and improved option for you, because we certainly don't want folks getting something substandard in their efforts to support the show. That's not cool.
Yep. So just wanted to let you all know. Hold off a little bit. We'll have new and better up soon. Mike, that's all the DMs I've got.
Well, we had a lot this time, but that's okay because we like listener mail.
We do.
So if you want to write into the show, you can do so by writing into plasticmodelmojo@gmail.com. That's the primary email. You can use the Facebook direct message to send a DM to us, as Dave's been handling that. And there's also a way in the show notes. There's a contact link in the show notes that you can use to also send it's kind of an email thing too, but you can use the link in the show notes, and it's just a different avenue to get to us. But we appreciate it no matter how you send it to us, and keep it coming, folks. Dave, the listener mail is not the only thing that was full of comments from episode 150.
Yeah.
It's been a lot going on between my ears as well since that. And just I don't know. I thought for this shop talk, we might touch on a couple of those.
Sounds like a plan.
And I don't know, just explore that a little bit, see what we've gotten out of modeling in the last year or whatever. Well, the first one is for us both to answer, and you get to go first because I asked the question.
Oh, that's fine.
You know, it's a hobby that's a lot of time solitary. We've talked about that before. Usually the act of actually doing the work for most people most of the time. Now, we have a club workshop, but there's a lot of people on Saturdays, and we have our build nights, and people do the online stuff, but primarily most folks do their modeling in solitude. And to, an outsider, it might look like a silly thing for grown men to be doing or grown women to be doing or whoever. But it's certainly, like any hobby, has certain benefits. But what do you get out of it primarily? What do you get out of modeling? And what more would you like to get out of it?
What I get out of modeling is multifaceted. Number one, my job as an attorney is kind of fast-paced. It's high pressure. It's very mentally draining. And so one of the things that I get out of my hobby is to be able to come down, sit down at the bench, and kind of, I don't want to say turn my brain off, because that's not what you do, but instead of doing a lot of high-level analysis and the legal type work in the brain, I can sit down with a kit and sand or paint or mask and kind of turn my brain off from all of the pressures of the rest of my life. I can come down, it's quiet, I'm alone, I can turn on some music or a video or whatever, and I can model, and there's almost a Zen-like quality to it, and it's relaxation. So probably the biggest single thing I get from it is relaxation, an ability to distance myself from the rest of life and just come and enjoy being alone and not having to think about all of the things that have to be done around the house or at work or whatever. In addition, it it allows me to combine my interest in history, and particularly military history, and take it from simply an interest in either reading or watching movies or videos or documentaries, and translate that in some way into 3D art and have a concrete representation of something that I was interested in from history. What I'd like to get more from it is what more would I like to get from it is just more of everything. We've talked about time and organization and stuff like that, but my life is constantly balls in the air, juggling balls in the air, and I would like to be able to find more time to come down to the place that's quiet, where all the noise goes away, and I can simply sit and be with myself and get the enjoyment of modeling out of it. And what keeps me from getting that is two things. One, internally, I am way too disorganized. I have terrible time management skills, which, by the way, is something almost all lawyers have. They are terrible at time management. And in addition, externally, just life. I mean, 2 teenage daughters, a wife, a house, a yard, pets, etc. And it just, those things aren't going away, nor should I put them at a lower priority than my hobby. But if I get better at getting all that stuff done, that should benefit me by giving me more time in my hobby.
Yeah.
So how about you?
I think it's a lot of similar things. I think it's different aspects of it have come to light depending on life circumstances and where I'm at. So generally it's like you allude to there, it's relaxation because it goes into a bucket I call escapism.
Yes.
And, there was before my current position I'm in, I was in a period of a low job satisfaction,
Mm-hmm.
to put it nicely. It was nice then to come home from all the things I didn't like about that and do something I liked doing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, once all the other household stuff was managed and taken care of. And it's just a great way to keep your brain moving and your hands.
Yep.
And I just, it's again, you said it, it's the zen of it. You can just focus on something right in front of you. If there's any external stimulation coming in, it's maybe you've got music on or something like that. It's, that's intentional as well. It's not something you don't want coming into your head.
Right.
You've purposely done it for relaxation. Another thing is I had it on the tip of my tongue. It gets back to the problem solving and the brain stimulation. And I think at the end of all that, there's a sense of accomplishment, even in the smallest thing you've managed to get done.
Yeah.
Especially if there was, a higher degree of difficulty to it and you kind of weren't sure how it was going to go. So I don't know how you do it, but yeah, I may think about it for quite a while.
Right.
Formulate a plan, a path through, and then execute on that. And when you get there, and most of the time it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but
right.
As you get more modeling skills and you get better at things and you get the skill of actually thinking things through instead of trying to do it on the fly, success is higher than failure by a pretty wide margin, I think. And with that, though, it's just a sense of satisfaction. And, you get that certainly when you get something done. But I don't get that very often, but I get the incremental problem solving satisfaction, get those accomplishments done all the time, especially when you've thought really hard about something and you actually pull it off. Sometimes you surprise yourself.
And that is one of the things you do when you model is you're doing a big project, you tend to treat many parts of it as little mini projects in and among themselves. How am I going to do this particular feature on the model? Or, how am I going to represent the fuel drum holders or whatever it is? And so you do get, while you might not finish a model every week or month
or year,
well, I wasn't going to go with that.
Well, you might as well be honest, Dave.
But you do get those mini completions inside a yet completed model.
And I'm always looking to get more of that.
Yeah.
And I think, modeling more certainly gets more of that. I think
just the sheer amount of modeling will get you more of those, just definitionally.
Now, what more would I like to get from it, and what keeps me from getting what I would like to get out of it are kind of hand in glove, I think. Some of it is skills I don't have yet. Certainly the time at the bench, time in the game, right?
Right.
That certainly gets you there. But I think one thing I've had to learn, I still strive to get better. I want to do the best I can. But I've kind of removed some of the stakes, made the stakes lower. I've kind of removed some of the obligations I put on myself for like contest modeling and those kind of things.
Right.
And I think contentment to some degree or lack of contentment can keep you from getting what you like out of it.
I agree.
If you're completely satisfied with where you are, you're probably not going to get better. So I don't think that's a place I personally would ever want to be.
Right.
But this not doing things because you don't know how, never doing them because you don't know how.
Right.
I think that's going to keep you from getting stuff out of it you want, because ultimately those are just problems you got to solve too.
Yeah.
Some of them are harder than others. I like figure painting for me. I just don't put the time in, but it's kept me from doing a lot of things. So that's maybe we'll come up again later here, but just being content in where you're at and just being happy in the hobby. I think it's a lot of fun for me. I just would like more time doing it. And I just, I got to avoid the temptation to slip back into those old ways I used to do it, because that's certainly going to make me not get what I want out of it for sure.
Sure. Keeping
the obligations at bay and doing what I want to do on my own time and not worry about what other people think about it or thinking I've got to get to point A to point B in an X amount of time. So just going to get there.
Yep.
Well, my next one, Dave, is in the last year, in 2025, what have you given the most thought to in the hobby? And I'm not looking for a year in review. We'll save all that stuff for December.
Right.
But is there some kind of technique or subject or anything you've been moved to consider as a project or I don't know, even a philosophical bent change or something like that? I don't know.
Absolutely. And we've talked about it repeatedly since March. Going up with Inch to that widow's house and seeing that fantastic collection of books that this person had collected over their life and that had become such a burden to his widow really, really hit me hard. I don't want to leave my family with any of that type of burden. It made me reevaluate organization. It made me reevaluate the size of my stash, the size of my library, the way it's organized, what arrangements that I can make now for the future, so that, among other things, that when that time comes, whenever it may come, that there is already a system in place where my wife does not have to give the first thought to any of the stuff in my hobby room or library, that I will have a group of people, modelers, friends who are modelers, who will come in, will have instructions already as to what to do, how to do it, what to do, so that literally my wife will not have to think about any of it. That whatever she'll be going through and my children will be going through, it will not be a burden to them. And I would urge everybody to take a good, hard look and to have a plan. And not just a plan in your head, but one that is written out and that the people you are counting on know the plan and are prepared to execute it on a moment's notice. Because we never know when it's going to be our time. I hope I've got 20 more good years of modeling in me, if not more, but I can't count on that. And that was really a wake-up call in my hobby in a way that I had not. I mean, I knew vaguely that there was some issue there, but it's not something you want to think about. Therefore, it's not something you do think about. And so it really has affected it's affected me greatly this year, probably more than anything else in the hobby in the past year.
That's a good one.
How about you?
I think for me so far this year, it's related. I've been back in my stash quite a bit. I've got to put some more shelving up at some point and move some things around. And
I've got to do that too.
I see these projects that either I've accumulated lots of stuff for them, I have this grandiose plan, yet, it'd be a kit I bought when it just came out, and I look at the release date on the side of the box, and it's like 1994 or something like that, and I'm like, why have I not built that one? We've all got stuff in our stash is like, yeah, that's a cool subject, I might want to build that sometime, and we go ahead and buy it, right?
Yeah,
you can justify it a million different ways, but the point is, we and I've said it before, all but the most disciplined among us keep this stash thing at bay, or manage to keep it at bay. They're the ones who keep it at bay. We mere mortals do not.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been part of the hobby, but at least this problem that you're talking about. But we're coming up on the end of the year, and we do the list thing all the time. We're going to do it again. And I don't know. I think looking at those projects and just piddling around, and the years roll off and it doesn't go anywhere, yet there's still things I'm really pretty feeling passionate that I want to get to.
Oh, I am too. I agree. In fact, you talk about the list thing. Steve and I were texting back and forth, I think like Sunday while we were watching football and talking about what would you like to do? What kits do you want to build in the next year? And that's always, you and I have done that every year at the end of the year. And that's always a great mental exercise. And it really does. When you make the list, you realize how unrealistic you're being. but at the same time, it also is motivating. It's like, heck yeah, I want to get these things done.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was actually going to mention it as well. And think maybe we should change it the way we do it this year.
Okay. I'm open to that.
How many have we put on the list before?
I think we used to do 10.
Okay. That's way too many.
Of course it is.
Let's pick a top 3 this year.
Okay.
And the next thing we start after our next finish has to be one of those 3 things.
I'm all for that.
All right. That's what we're going to do, folks.
Okay.
That's how we're going to
look for that in an upcoming episode.
That's right. Probably next month sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dave, this final topic for Shop Talk comes from Steve Anderson's A Guided Journal for Modelers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be the next to last one of these we do. We're going to finish this up in December. We will have done it every month since, I think, January.
Yep.
We've done a lot of these.
Yes, we have.
Well, the question is, do you prefer short bursts at the bench or longer sessions? And what are the pros and cons of your way?
And this has changed for me. Okay. When I was a younger modeler, I would do 4 and 5, 6-hour sessions at the bench. And in fact, when I built the MiG-17 that I took to the Indianapolis Nationals in 1985, when I was in law school, I built that kit in 7 days from beginning to end, from starting the kit to finishing it. And I think I modeled, I think in the 7 days, I got like 9 hours of sleep in those 7 days. And I'm not exaggerating.
You don't need much still to this day.
Well, but I mean, it was unhealthy, but that's neither here nor there. But I could model for 5 and 6 hours at a go sitting at a bench. I can't do that anymore. Combination of eyesight weakening and my, aches and pains. My ideal modeling session now is about an hour and a half. And after that, I have to get up and take a break. And sometimes I can take like a 30 or 45-minute break and come back and do another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But there is just no way I can sit down at the bench and model for 3 or 4 hours like I used to be able to do. I just can't. It's a physical limitation for me. It's getting older. And you know what? There's part of me that's sad that I can't do that. I can't do a 4 or 5 hour session, but to be utterly realistic, the number of chances I get to do a 4 or 5 hour session are vanishingly small, simply because I have husbandly obligations and those come first. I can't sit in the basement for 6 hours and just model. So that's the long and short of it. That's the reason for it. And I accept it for what it is. How about you?
I don't know. I don't know if I have an ideal session. I think I parse my tasks out to where I'm kind of in both those lanes. In the evening, I can be down here for 3 or 4 hours, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me qualify that a little bit. If it's a problem I'm working through, it may not actually be building anything.
Right.
It may be staring at it.
Yep.
And arranging things and thinking, okay, I do this, what happens then? And how do I have to how do I make the next step work if I do this now, and that sort of thing. So, that's not that taxing really
Right.
on your physically, but physical modeling, if I'm doing a lot of stuff, typically the thing that starts bothering me first is my hand strength. And just especially if you're using a lot of pinching kind of grips and things like that, man, after about 3 hours of that, I got to stop and take a break. And, I'll go wash my hands in cool water and go do something else for a little while. Yeah. And I get that at work this week too. And it's been kind of a problem because I get my hands fatigued at work. I'll do the stuff I need to do before lunch, get fatigued. Over lunch, I've recovered. And, the afternoon work, I can't go quite as long before they start feeling tired again. I start dropping things or just breaking stuff.
Right.
And like if I'm at the model bench. So I don't know, a 3-hour session for me is pretty good. I think I can get a lot done if I am working in 3 hours. But to back up and give a little contrast, if there's something small I know that I can do, sometimes I'll come down here in the morning after breakfast and on a weekday, and if it's something I can do in like less than 20 minutes, I'll do it. I'll knock that out. I'll get something staged for when I come back. It could be trimming something off a sprue. It could be moving a 3D print from the printer to the wash tank, to the cure, post cure. It could be just small tasks like that. Setting my bench up for what I'm going to do that evening. That's something I do a lot in the morning. With fairly regularly, I'll come down and I'll clear up any mess I've made the night before to get ready for a next step. If it's a largely different kind of task, I might do that in the morning. So, those are typically, 15, 20 minute kind of things I do, but it gets me down here.
Yep. And I do think there is a value in being in your modeling room, even if you're not actively building, painting, whatever. I think your presence in the room itself helps motivate.
Well, here's a twist on it.
Okay.
How much quote unquote modeling time? I think you'd have to broaden the circle to call it hobby time. Do you spend just scrolling through reference books and stuff like that?
Plenty, but not as much as I used to, and probably not as much as I should. I will tell you that in general, I have become more and more of an out of the boxer, where I may pull out my detail and scale on the F6F and flip through it quickly to see how the wheel wells are painted and what the struts are painted like, just to get reference for that. But I'm not going over it for hours and hours because I'm going to do a mega project where I open everything up and I super detail an engine and all that. I'm doing less and less of that. Now, there are some projects I still have in mind where I want to do the full-on gonzo, but more and more I am simply wanting to assemble what God and Edward have given me and come out with a completed model.
I understand. I don't know if I've gotten there yet, but
well, I don't think that's not the way you model.
It's not the way I model.
I'm not sure you'll ever get there.
Well,
because that's not modeling for you. Really, I don't think that's you and I in some ways don't practice the same hobby.
Oh, yeah, we do. Or we couldn't do this show, man.
Well, I may exaggerate, but there's a point there.
Well, Steve, thanks for the thoughtful questions, and we've enjoyed those, and we'll get one more in before the year's out. But folks, if you got anything to say on any of these questions, write into the show. Use it as a call to action to let us know how, what do you get out of modeling, or what's been in your ear or your eyes this year in 2025 as far as how you approach the hobby, or maybe something you want to build or whatever, and let us know about it.
Yep, please do.
Bases by Bill is back with quality display bases that enhance any model. From U.S. and Japanese wooden carrier decks to custom-sized cherry hardwood bases, Bases by Bill display bases are available for any type of model and for any size. Oh, and have you heard? Bases by Bill is now a U.S. reseller for One-Man Army high-definition paint masks. These masks bring amazing detail to your model, even maintenance stencils. They have to be seen to be believed. And all One-Man Army products include free shipping. Check basesbybill.com to see the products. Bases by Bill for all your model display needs.
Well, folks, it's time to put up or shut up. It's the Benchtop Halftime Report.
Well, luckily, I've got a little to report.
Well, good. Glad to hear it.
It's mostly the F6F. It's in overall glossy blue. I've started to mask and do some panel differential. Glossy blue, those aircraft, if you look at color pictures of them, there's not a lot of variation, but I'm going to do some stuff that may not be completely 100% accurate, but I think will give a good looking model. And you know what?
You don't care.
I don't care. I really don't. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to do some things. I'm going to see if I can get a neat, cool, varied finish to the thing and see where it comes out, but I'm having fun with it. I've also got the SAM back on the model stand, and I've got it upside down, and I've started to do the oil detail wash on the underside, which is really, frankly, the major thing left to do before I put the bits and bobs together, like our correspondent putting together the MiG-15.
Well, back up a minute to the
Hellcat.
The Hellcat.
Yep.
In the Scale U model.
Yep.
Is a personal preference for that scheme, that glossy blue.
Yep.
I don't really like the ones that are really reflective.
No, I don't
that
either.
That are really shiny. So I'm just curious what you're doing. I think I've asked you this before when you're doing the start of the group build, what you were going to do.
Right. Because I did the glossy blue on the Bearcat. Now that one has a little more of a glossy finish because those were post-World War II birds. Usually, in fact, the one I built was in a reserve unit in Norfolk. And so those airplanes tended to be cleaner, tended to be shinier. So I didn't do as much. With this Hellcat, I am definitely, it will not be a high gloss blue. It will be not matte, but what I guess you would describe as a satin finish. Frankly, maybe even some panels flatten down a little bit.
That'd look cool.
One of the things I may try on this, because I've got a theory in the back of my head that I've had for like 4 or 5 years and I've never tried it, that you can get a really interesting and realistic looking finish by varying not only panel color, but the gloss or flat of particular panels. And this thing is the perfect mule for that because it's all one color. It's, that glossy blue. Don't have to worry about camouflage or anything like that. So it's really kind of the perfect bird to experiment with that on. And that's what I'm going to try and do. We'll see. But I'm having fun with it and I'm enjoying it. I'm getting a lot out of it as a hobby project. And as we know, that's what this is all about.
I'm glad to see the stuff moving forward.
Me too. Now, is anything moving forward on your bench?
Yeah, it is. The KV-85. Where did I leave off? I made the saddles for the fuel drums.
Right.
And that was kind of it's one of these deals where it's a tendency I have to use the medium that I think is going to help me get there the easiest. Or the whole thing's not 3D printed. I've got some STL files for those fuel drums and the brackets that you can 3D print, but there's some aspects about them that I didn't like when they printed. And I went back and the saddles, the semicircular blocks
Right.
the thing sits in, redid those in NewCAD, and then I printed those, I cleaned them up, and then there's a detail on those that was very fine that I've scratch built. I had to make 8 of them, these little cleats, and I actually cut those out of styrene, and those have been glued onto these 3D printed blocks. And then now I'm trying to figure out the best way to do the actual straps that hold the drums to the saddle. And what these things was a metal band. Just imagine a flat metal band, just a thin sheet metal. And then that at the very ends, the last several inches, it was formed into a C channel.
Gotcha.
So it transitions from a C channel to a flat strip. And then inside that C channel was welded a piece of threaded rod.
Gotcha.
So there were nuts on the threaded rod that went under the cleats on the saddle, and you just tightened them up and draw the retaining band down on the drum. And I wanted to make the straps out of styrene, and the cleats on the outside of the fenders are styrene, and the cleats I made for the backside of the saddles I made from styrene. So I can use styrene cement and have the ability to have all the properties of gluing styrene to styrene instead of using super glue on a 3D printed part to make this thing work. And I've been working through that this week. I've spent a lot of time without much fruit for my labors trying to make those straps and figuring out the best way to do it. So the biggest part was working out the dimensions, what I need to get it in the cleats and then get it around the drum and not have it be too long or too short. So I've got that figured out. Now I got to figure out how to do the C channels on the ends. Still working on that, man. It's kind of a tough one. I'm not real sure how to do it, but I'll figure something out.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
I got all weekend.
There you go. And now I take it in the KV-85, there were, you said there were only a couple of hundred built. Did they all use the round fuel drums? None of them ever used the rectangular ones?
Yeah, it's basically the same ones that were on all the late KVs.
Gotcha.
So and I'm doing 2 of them unpopulated and 2 of them with the drums. So I got to figure this out because I need 8 straps. Yeah.
Right.
So it's going to be fun.
I'm sure it will be, and I'm sure you'll come up with a great solution.
Well, the Mooseru Cup car kit has been stagnant for a while, primarily because I had some painting to do. And last time I reported, my CO2 tank had gone empty, and it was pretty close. I took it up to the garage and opened the garage door and vented it, and it didn't blow out for much. I mean, just maybe 20 seconds came out of it, and then it was done. So it was empty. It was wise to not try to get a painting session in on that. So I got that refilled. I got my cylinder back in the basement. I got the regulator back on it. Now just maybe this weekend I'll do some painting.
Well, good. That would be cool.
Other than that, always fighting the urge to start something new. I got to get something done.
I have promised myself that the SAM and the F6F will both be done before I cut on any more plastic.
Got anything else? That's all I've really worked on.
That's it.
Plastic Model Mojo is brought to you by Squadron. Head on over to squadron.com for the latest in kits and accessories, all at a great price and with great service. Squadron, adding to the stash since 1968.
Mike, I'm going to let you go first on what broke your wallet, because my list is both long and distinguished.
Yeah, folks, this is where Dave contradicts everything he said about stash management in the last segment.
Yeah, I understand. I am not unaware of the irony. So tell me, Mike, did you buy anything recently?
I did buy some stuff, Dave.
Okay, what did you buy?
I bought 2 things I've been yammering on about for a long time and finally just pulled the trigger and got them. The first was I picked up a Tamiya JS2.
Cool kit.
Oh, it's a good kit. I thought I was buying it to cabbage some parts out of.
Yeah.
Honestly, so I needed to find a really good deal on one. I did. But after I got into it, I started looking and it's like, the kits in my aftermarket turret for this KV-85 aren't as bad as I thought they were. And I'm not going to use the machine gun barrel anyway. So I don't think I need to cabbage this kit.
Which means you need to build it.
So it means I need to build it as a JS2.
Yeah,
so,
nice out-of-the-box build.
It's not a new kit by any means anymore, but it's a modern kit, though. But it's a really nice one. And about time I added that one to the stash, because I remember when that kit came out, it was like, I was kind of that was kind of my thing, that those Soviet heavy tanks and things.
The big Soviet tanks.
And I just never did get it. That was during I can get it on eBay whenever I want it phase.
Right.
And I was selling stuff down. That's why I never bought it, I think. But the other thing I bought, you talk about a whiplash and genre change. I finally bought that 32nd scale TIE fighter from AMT.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. I did.
Oh, man.
It's a pretty big model when it's all said and done. And
it is.
It's not that complicated. It doesn't have a lot of parts, but I mean, they're big, though. The parts are big.
Right.
Looking forward to that at some point. I don't know when, but it led me down the rabbit hole to how do I want to finish it? Because if you get into that, there's a color that they were painted by ILM.
Right.
And then how that color actually appeared on screen with the lighting. And they're very far apart.
Right.
Yeah. The color that the folks in that genre have figured out that they were painted was an old Pactra color. I can't remember the name of it. It's like Stormy Seas, or it was like a fairly dark bluish gray color.
Right.
Well, those things look like light gray on the screen.
Right.
But, so there's the people who make that color, there's custom paint and aftermarket part in every genre. So the Star Wars crowd's got their own people making paints to match some of those old paint lines that don't exist anymore, that the actual studio models were painted in. And,
right.
I was like, whoa, hold on. We don't want to go there. So I'm going to paint it probably like it appeared on the screen.
Gotcha.
Primarily because I want to try some painting stuff on it that I've not done before. And the lighter color will lend itself to that more than the darker color. But a big kit. The thing's like 13 inches tall when you get it done. So,
oh, wow.
It's pretty big. It's a good scale for that model.
Yeah.
I think of the stuff I've, already talked about the stuff we got at the MMCL show. So I really think that's it, Dave.
Oh, my.
2 kits.
Amateur.
Lay it on me, brother.
Let me take a deep breath before I start. Okay. We'll start with the Pacific Profiles, Volume 18 on the Dutch East Indies. These are series of books done. The author is Michael Claringbold, who is a historian who really has studied the Japanese naval air forces and the Allied air forces in the Southwest Pacific. And Volume 18, fallen in love with the whole series, and I'll eventually end up with all of them.
You've bought stuff from that theater at many shows we've been at together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this book is on the Dutch East Indies, and so it has a lot of the Dutch, British, and American aircraft that were in the Dutch East Indies area and Western Australia and Burma. And
cool.
It's a particular fascination of mine. So I picked that up, and it's awesome.
I wouldn't be surprised if you put yellow triangles on your car doors.
Oh, there you go.
Or orange triangles.
Orange triangles. I placed an order with ASK out of Ukraine. If you'll remember at the MMCL show, Warren Dickinson brought
the little engines,
one of these 3D printed engines for the Tamiya Zeros. And oh my God, these things are unbelievable. And so I placed an order for 4 of them. And when I did, I placed the order for 4 of those. I also ordered a set of Edward Zero stencil decals. And I ordered the Great Wall Hobbies MiG-29 SMT, the Hunchback MiG-29. And I'm here to tell you inside the box, that MiG-29 kit is one of the most beautiful models I have ever seen. Now, hopefully it goes together as good as it looks in the box. I mean, it could be an engineering nightmare. Who knows? But, oh my God, that's a beautiful, beautiful kit. I mean, the urge to just drop everything and build it is near overwhelming. But I'm not going to do it. I recently purchased the Arma Hawk 75 and the Arma KI 43. These are two Arma kits that I wanted that I just haven't added to the stash. And so, yes, I understand what I just said about stashes and sizes and getting to what you're building, but I wanted these kits, so I bought them.
You probably have 20 Hawks you could throw away.
I do. I've got a whole bunch of Hawks that are going out the door. Skippy and I went to Cincinnati, and we met Inch there, and we had vendor tables side by side, and we vended, and I managed to find new homes for a lot of those books from that Widows collection, which put some money in my hand. And one of the things about the Cincinnati show is it has a lot of secondhand vendors, and the prices are really, really good. And with a little bit of money in my hand and some really, really good prices, I ended up buying 4 kits. I bought an Airfix C-47. I have one, but I needed a spare because that's a project that I'm going to be starting in 2026.
I assume it's the new one.
Yeah, it's the new one, not the old one.
Not the golf ball covered one.
Yeah, no. I bought an A&A Models SA-3. I have a fascination with anti-aircraft missiles, and so I picked that kit up, 72nd scale. I picked up for an amazing price, a Fine Molds F-14A. And the Fine Molds A is a beautiful, beautiful kit. It will make a great companion to the Tamiya F-14D. And then I picked up an Edward ME-110 G4 Night Fighter. That is also a kit that I actually already have one of. But again, it was at a price that was so dirt cheap that it was almost like they were giving it away. And so I'm sure I will find a use for that kit as well. So when I counted up, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 model kits, 1 decal sheet, 4 aftermarket 3D printed engines, and 1 book.
You've been busy.
Yeah. And I'm also now officially broke.
Again, I have to get busy to get some of that done.
That's right. Listen, if I can complete both the F6F and the SAM by the end of the year, that will be 4 for me this year. And if I can do 4 this year, then I'm going to do a stretch goal of 6 for 2026.
Well, be good, Murfreesboro. Don't buy kits. Buy Bill Moore some lunch or something.
That's right. That's right. This is the point in the episode where I ask all of the listeners, when you're done with the episode, please rate the episode. Please rate the podcast on whatever podcasting app you're listening on. Also, if you have a friend who doesn't listen to the podcast, please encourage them to listen. Show them how to get the podcast. Walk them through that. Podcast continues to grow listeners. The best way for us to get new listeners is to have recommendations from current listeners. So please go ahead and recommend us to your friends who aren't listening.
And don't forget, you can also rate and review the podcast through the link in the show notes of each and every episode. So there's another way you can do that if your podcast app doesn't support such. In addition to Plastic Model Mojo, there's a lot of other podcasts out in the model sphere, and you can check those out by going to modeledpodcast.com. That's Model Podcast plural. It's a consortium website set up by Stuart Clark, our friend up in Canada at the Scale Model Podcast. They're on hiatus right now, but hopefully Stu comes back. You can go to that site and find the banner links to all the current podcasts in the modelsphere. So it's a one-stop shop. You can go there, follow the links, listen to what you want to, subscribe to all of them. However you want to do it, you can do it there. In addition, we got a lot of blog and YouTube friends in the model sphere. You've mentioned Jeff Incheye Groves, got a great blog on the internet, primarily about 70-second scale. Sprue Pie with Fret, Stephen Lee, another good blog, another good 70-second scale. He sent some photos of some rail cars.
Yes,
he's been working on for Rail Model Craftsman magazine. So really looking to check that out. That might get me to buy another train magazine unless somebody wants to send me their manuscript so I don't have to.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. Chris Wallace, model airplane maker. Great blog, great YouTube channel. Really looking forward to seeing Chris in March at Heritage Con and hopefully again at the National Convention in Fort Wayne.
Yep.
Panzermeister 36, Evan McCallum, Mr. Married Man. He's a big shot now.
Yep, and he just dropped a new video.
He did. So you're going to check that out on YouTube at Panzermeister 36. That's good. And we've mentioned him all through the episode. Dr. Paul Buzik, recently retired, but hopefully going to devote a little more time to his hobbies and his video production. And check that out at the Scale Model Workshop on YouTube and on Patreon. And if you go to Patreon, please subscribe to his channel. It's not very much, and it's worth everything. So check them all out, folks. That's what we got.
Finally, if you're not a member of IPMS, the USA chapter for those of us in the U.S., or actually people from overseas can also join IPMS USA, please join. I'm the current recruitment and retention secretary. This is the last term I intend to serve in that role. My goal is to get the membership to 6,000 members when I leave. IPMS USA has never had that many members, so I'd like to go out with the organization being at the highest membership it's ever had. Please join. Join your local or your national branch, wherever you may be located. And if you're an armor modeler or post-1900 figures modeler, please consider joining the Armor Modeling and Preservation Society, AMPS. Great group of guys who are very dedicated to advancing the art of armor modeling. Mike, we're almost at the end of the episode. I'm at the end of my beer. I want to thank Bill Moore. It was a really good beer. Again, it's Tailgate Brewing out of Nashville, a Wizard's Order Juicebox Wizard Juicy IPA. It's 6% alcohol by volume. It's a classic juicy IPA. You get the citrus, you get a little hop, but the hop is not too much. And it was great beer. I really appreciate Bill bringing it to us.
If you're good, he'll give you some more.
I know. I'm hoping. How about you? Tell me you got a bad bottle of Basil Hayden.
No, I can't tell you that.
Yeah, I know you can't.
Once I got the cheese popcorn out of my mouth, it got back to being really, really, really nice.
Sure.
You know, Basil's a lighter one. It's 80 proof.
Yep.
I've said it before, I think, on the podcast. It's a good, if you've never been a bourbon person,
it's a good start bourbon.
It's a good place to start because it's not too hot. It's fairly smooth. It's got a good flavor. You'll enjoy it. I think so.
Yep. It's light, very smooth going down. So if you need an introduction to bourbon, that's a good one to be introduced.
That's where I'd start.
Well, we now are truly at the end of the episode. I've got a couple of shout outs. Number one is to all of the folks who've chosen to support the podcast. Your financial support really does help. Mike and I have put a lot into this, and we've got plans to grow it even more. And the folks, there's nothing that is more gratifying to Mike and I than having people value the podcast enough to kick in a little money to support the podcast. So if you listen to us regularly and you find value in it, please, we appreciate it. Thank you for those of you who have supported us, and we look forward to your continued support.
Absolutely.
So you got another shout out?
Well, since you stole my normal one, I guess I have to come up with one.
Okay. Well, I got one more if you want a minute to think.
No, I'm going to shout out Brandon and company at Squadron.
That's a great one.
It's just been really fun working with those guys, and
It
we're
has.
going to continue to do that as long as they'll let us, as long as they'll have us. It was fun being on Squadron TV, so we hope to get another chance at that. He continues to grow that business, keeps adding line and manufacturing of his own to his business, and it's just great to see that brand back.
Yes, it is.
But what's your other one?
I want to shout out Bill Moore. Like I said, he was able to get a table for us for the Murfreesboro show at the last minute, and he's really rolled out the red carpet for us, and I appreciate that. Bill, your efforts do not go unnoticed.
You don't think the table's in the men's room or something?
Yeah, hopefully not. Well, I'll update you next episode.
Please do. Well, Dave, we're at the end of this, and it's been fun as usual, but as we always say,
so many kids.
So little time, Dave. Have fun in Murfreesboro.
I'm going to. I'll send pictures.